Now hold up, everyone. Anyways, so hello everyone. Welcome back to the stream. I'm very sorry that that my live stream ended. That's because my battery has freaking died. But that's not a problem, but tomorrow is the day of the King of Fighters 15. And I can't wait. And I can't wait to see what's there, so we're gonna have to predict and talk about what will be in there. So we're gonna go to YouTube. So a user by the name of NeoGeo now talked about the King of Fighters 15 with some people. He interviewed them, so let's
I
see.
have a challenge for all of you. Go to every computer in
Mr.
your house,
Beast.
your mom's, your dad's, your sister, your brother's computer,
Mr.
and install
Best.
Hunt.
So let's take a look at this.
Hey guys, Nabil here, and welcome to another episode of Let's Talk King of Fighters 15. Today I have a very special guest. It's none other than one of the best KOF players in the world and also in the EMA region. I'm talking, of course, about Freezer. Freezer, thank you so much for accepting this invitation. It's really an honor to speak to you about King of Fighters 15, particularly in fighting games in general.
Yo, Nabil. Oh man, I love the way you pronounce your name. It's now what are you doing?
Oh, dude, this dude has a freaking Tengu mask, probably a PS4, PS5 controls, I'm not too sure, but this guy got a Sam show. There's Mario over here, and then there's the Burn to Fight poster. He actually has two of them right here, one and there. It's pretty cool.
No problem, man. Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now, one first question I want to go with is your username Freezer? Now, I want to know the origin of that, but if I have to guess, it has to do with Dragon Ball Z. Am I correct?
In fact, no.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, like when I used to play, I like my game plan and my gameplay used to keep my opponents blocking all the time. So it was like me saying to them, freeze, don't move, or something like this. So I'm the freezer.
Oh man, some people are...
yeah. That was the idea.
The King of Fighters is a series held strong by legacy. What began as a crossover of SNK's...
Now, this isn't King of Fighters 15 related, but this is the previous game, so we're gonna take a look at this.
classic games, KOF took on a life of its own, adding characters and changing rosters nearly every year for more than a decade. Series mainstays like Kyo Kusanagi and Terry Bogard will always take center stage, but every now and then we get newcomers who try to make a name for themselves. Sometimes we get welcome additions, sometimes we get forgettable sideshows, and sometimes we get Ash Crimson.
Alright, so some people may not know this character. This guy's freaking K49. His design is inspired by Tetsuo Oshima from Akira, and basically his last appearance was in 2002, and he was never here again because he violated copyright of freaking Akira. Now SNK did not make this character, and SNK hated K49 because he was not original design, so he was more likely a taken design because of that. So someone by the name of Eolith, I think Eolith made this design, but he was replaced by Nameless in 2002 UM. So yeah, he was originally gonna appear in freaking Neowave, but was never made in. So the Eolith K49. I don't really hate this guy, but he looks cool.
Forgettable sideshows, and sometimes we get Ash Crimson. With KOF 14 making its debut, we're getting a fresh plate of newcomers to toss into the salad. And
now let's talk about the teams that are going to be in there. Obviously Team Japan, Team Yagami, Team Fatal Fury, Team Art of Fighting, and pretty much all. So obviously Terry's gonna return, Killer's gonna return, Daimon, Benimaru, Andy, Joe, Iori, and pretty much all of them. Even the newcomers.
Oh boy. I may have happened upon the worst character design in the whole game. Over-designed, uncoordinated, and clashing colors everywhere. This design is just agony to look at, and I think everyone knows who I'm talking about. Not Sylvie Paula Paula, because she's literally Chiari Pami Pamu in a fighting game, and that's freaking awesome. No, I'm talking about Shune.
Yeah, so many people do not like his design. Like, people are gonna they're like, what the hell is this design? This is a WTF design. Like, what is this? This is so lazy. SNK, what are you doing?
Man for Team China.
But people are not like this, trust me. Some people are this, but not really.
Just, where do I even begin? You want to talk about his color scheme? I want to say that the primary colors are white and black with red accents, but then he's got a purple tie and shirt trim, yellow accents, and they thought to top this off with moss green hair. And then when he uses his powers, you get blue and orange. Look at this color palette. There's a reason why we say less is more, because more is not always more. If you slimmed down this palette to white, black, and red, and maybe yellow accents, you'd have a palette that's nice and easy on the eyes and has been proven to work before. But the green hair and the purple tie ruin everything. Even Sylvie, a character whose palette looks like a jar of Skittles, has more consistent colors. Now, while I know nothing about Asian boy band fashion, I do know that I do not like these clothes.
Now, my opinion about Shune's design, it's not bad. I don't think it's that bad, but I think it's pretty, well, how do I say this? It's pretty good. Well, characters that I want to see the most. Damn, this is so difficult. I would love to see Shingo, Saichu. I don't know if he's gonna be in there. Who else? I mean, I would like to see, I don't know if Krauser's gonna come back. Shoot, this is difficult. Because I have lots of characters planned, and I would like to see Ash Crimson. I would definitely like to see Ash Crimson return. I mean, although he's a cameo in 14, during the end of the Invitations team. Who else? I would like to see Shenwu, Dulan. I obviously think Shenwu's like a badass. He's very badass. I like playing the character. No, obviously I think he's pretty good.
I have a challenge for all of
Okay, what? Also, I would like to see Dulan. He has only appeared in like, well, 1, 2, 3. So I think 5. Well, no. So he has appeared in 4 games, including 12. Including King of Fighters 12. That game did not so well. I'm not too sure, but who else would I want to see? Oh yeah, I think Chrysalid is coming. Yeah, I think he's coming back. Hold on, Shoryu Game. Shoryu Game talks about the game story like pretty much well detailed, and we're gonna see the verse story. Yeah, so we're gonna.
KOF 14 is the first episode of the Verse Saga, which is the 4th chapter of the King of Fighters series. Being the only episode released so far, there are many details that are yet to be explained. Still, plenty of elements are already established during this entry, promising a saga rich in twists and surprises that will most likely be the central plot.
Now, in my opinion about Kyo's design, it's not that bad. I like the design, even though he looks like a freaking BTS looking band member.
Of the upcoming installments.
Also, I wonder what kind of iPhone Kyo has.
But let's leave the future for now and go back a little bit in the past, exactly when Ash Crimson sacrificed himself. A time-space distortion was created when Ash erased.
Oh yeah, also I forgot, I would like to see Rugal Bernstein, the cheapest boss ever. Man, his 2002 UM boss was so difficult and was a nightmare to face against. I had like hard times trying to beat this guy. At one point I was playing as Agnes against him, and all of a sudden I thought I won because I thought his health bar was like lower. Like I thought it was gonna be the same. I don't know if mine was lower, but yeah. And then his was like almost right here, I guess. And then I unfortunately lost, but I successfully managed to like waste some, like, let the time run out by playing as Zero.
Psyche and himself from history when he refused to enter the time gate. It is not clear how this distortion was created exactly. My personal theory is that Elizabeth could not forget about him while he was erased from the memories of all who knew him. Ash should never have existed for her to remember. This is what created the time-space.
Oh yeah, I think Hydern will return. I'm not too sure. I mean, he has appeared in some games. In some games like 94, 95, 98, 2001, 2002, am I wrong? No, he was in 2002 UM, but I think he will return.
Distortion that ended up giving birth to the entity known as Verse. All this reminded me of what happened in The Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time. A totally different game, I know, but if you remember, at the end of this game, the prince went all the way back in time to the start of the game, which allowed him to undo all the actions that he took during the adventure and to avoid his own death. But by doing this, a monster was set to chase him during the second game for the purpose of killing him, and thus correcting the normal flow of time. Verse was not created to correct anything, on the contrary, it was a result of the time distortion created by Ash. Verse is made from pure negative energy, and as long as it existed, it created more time anomalies, resulting of characters from different worlds transported to the KOFs.
Yeah, I think these three characters will return. Nakoruru, Mui Mui, and Loveheart. These three will return, hopefully. Because Nakoruru is one of the most popular SNK characters. And I think these two will return.
As an embodiment of rage and fire that seeks to destroy everything, Verse was also after a young man, Shunei, the new protagonist of the saga who possessed a fragment of Verse's soul. Shunei was abandoned at a young age by his parents and was raised as a disciple of Tang Furu. Possessing a fragment of Verse's soul gave Shunei pyrokinesis powers bound to his left side, which allowed him to control fire. He can also summon a claw-like form from his right side. Its origin is a bluish entity that is yet to be revealed. I have no doubt that we will learn more about it in the
Okay, I don't know what will the new boss fate be. Probably similar to Verse, I'm not too sure. We have to find out tomorrow. But Shunei's design can be a little... Some people hated it. The design. But we'll have to find out in 15 to see what it is.
For now, Shunei seems to have total control over his two opposite powers, as long as he keeps training.
Dang, hold on.
A billionaire self-proclaimed champion called Antonov bought the rights of the King of Fighters brand and organized a new tournament. he sent invites to most of the KOF's veterans and challenged them to take his title. Despite his arrogant and cocky attitude, Antonov is actually a brave and respectful man with a soft heart. He also seems to be the only KOF host in the entire series who had no hidden agenda behind organizing this latest competition. While he has no team and prefers to fight alone, he did hire a team composed of Mian, a Sichuan opera dancer, Sylvie, a former NES product, and a mysterious foul-mouthed man named Kukri. All three of them formed the official invitation.
Damn, will Antonov return? I'm not too sure. I don't know, but he's appeared in this game. But I don't know if he's gonna organize the King of Fighters 15 tournaments. But I'm unsure about that.
Team. Meanwhile, the patriarch of the Kusanagi clan, Saishu, knew that a new
I really hope this guy returns. He has been only seen in well, 94 as a non-playable character, 95, 98 UM, and pretty much Neowave. That's almost it, because we haven't seen this guy in a very long
evil
time.
was about to be unleashed and will cause great chaos, and so he requested his son Kyo and his friends Benimaru and Diamond to enter the tournament in hopes to stop this new threat. Back from the dead once again, Mature and Vice warned Iori about this new threat, mentioning that this KOF is just the beginning of a nightmare. Then they gave him the invitation to the tournament, which he accepted. After all, Iori was eager to use his purple flames once again after he was deprived of them in the previous KOF.
I think Iori's design will look like this again. I'm not too sure because I seen an image on this channel called SNK Neo Geo World, and in one video it shows Iori in the thumbnail, but I think he deleted it because of unknown reasons. I have to see if this is actually true or not, because I'm unsure if his design is going to be like this. But I think people liked Iori's new design, or I'm not too sure if they disliked it. But yeah.
Traveling all the way from a different world, Nakururu managed to follow Verse. She was determined to defeat it and end this time-space distortion that he created. She was joined by Mui Mui and Love Heart, who were transported from their worlds against their will. Then the three strange...
There's something... Like, when I played King of Fighters 14, when I fought Mui Mui felt like a freaking Shang Fei. She felt like Shang Fei 2.0. But I guess that's just my coincidence. Hopefully Shingo and Chizuru returns. Who else is gonna return? Yeah, the New Faces team, or to be specific, the Orochi team will return because Oda-san confirmed them that they were alive during the events of SNK Heroines. I would like to see Adelheid to return. Also Rock Howard.
women entered the tournament.
Valorant is a 5 versus 5 shooter where you'll attack or defend strategic points on the map.
At the end of the competition, Anton...
Okay, what was I about to say? I was about to say something like, I think the cast from 14 will return to voice these characters again. I wonder what Athena's design will look like though, because she always changes her appearance in pretty much every single game. In 12 and 13, I felt like nothing really has changed though. Naruto Stormfloor, I don't have that game. But I'm not really a fan of those type of games, but
Antonov challenged the winning team all by himself. Despite being a tough opponent with superhuman strength, he lost the fight. Antonov accepted his defeat and was about to give up his belt to the winning team when suddenly the sky blackened and an unknown force destroyed the arena, then started to take a humanoid shape. The creature known as Verse was formed.
there it is.
Antonov was badly injured during the destruction of the stadium. Thankfully, the new proclaimed champions were safe and ready to stop this new otherworldly enemy.
I mean, Team Japan is basically like the heroes of this. There's a user by the name of Mega Nintendo 07, 007, I think. I'm not too sure how to pronounce it, but I think he or she said that in KOF 13 that Elizabeth is a true hero because of what she did, like trying to stop Ash Crimson. Or I may be wrong, because you know what? I don't know this. But seriously, Verse was a little difficult, by the way. Like all these combos. Running, wait, what the? His combos just close heavy punch, jump. Oh, that move is just painful. He got
Once
destroyed.
defeated, Verse blew up and shattered into multiple pieces that flew through the sky. Everybody at the stadium was happy and relieved, thinking that the nightmare was over. What most of them don't know is that Verse contained the souls of many dead characters, mainly antagonists from previous episodes, and by destroying Verse, they were freed and came back to life.
Yeah, so this is Rugal, Gonitz, yeah, that's Gonitz, Chrysalid, and Agnes, so it's most likely these characters will return.
The first soul our heroes faced was none other than Orochi. Luckily, Kyo, Iori, and Shizuru sensed its presence and found it struggling to maintain a physical form without a catalyst. They quickly destroyed it while it was still weakened. The second soul was Ash Crimson and was found by
Yeah, so Ash Crimson will return. And Orochi, well, he got destroyed by the 3 sacred treasures, so I'm not too so yeah, it's most unlikely.
Kukri, who turned out to be working for Elizabeth.
Yeah.
But that's not all. According to Versus win quotes against some specific characters,
Yeah, so he says, "What's wrong? You could be my secretary again." That's Rugal saying that. And I think Elizabeth will return.
we know that Rugal, Chrysalid, Ignis, Gaidel, and even Mizuki from
Wait, I thought that was Gonitz. Oh my god, I got confused. Gaidel, the true father of Leona, and
Samurai Showdown were also trapped in his body, and now the Samurai Showdown, Gaidel, and even Mizuki from Samurai Showdown.
so Mizuki, I think she will be in King of Fighters 15. Like, I mean, there's only one Sam Show character in 14, but I think, yeah, I think she'll be in 15. I don't know.
Were also trapped in his body, and now they are free and will most likely be present in KOF 15, or some of them at least.
Yeah.
And to top it all, even Verse doesn't seem to be totally destroyed. In its ending, we know that a fragment of Verse has landed on Australia, implying that it may return as well.
Oh no. Looks like Verse is
I
going to
hope you
return.
enjoyed this video. Give
It looks like it may have amplified that Verse will return, and well, according to a trivia on this channel named Neo Geo Land. Hold on, let's search it up. Yeah, a channel named Neo Geo Land posted a community post of this, of the trivia. It was started as a new saga, still unnamed. What do you mean still unnamed? Like what? I mean, people call it the Verse Saga, but this guy says that's still unnamed. Well, that's pretty much fine. Not everyone truly knows the name, but we're just gonna call it the Verse Saga for now. Now, there are more videos of Shoryu games, like talking about the story. I mean, Verse was kind of difficult, not gonna lie. But I really hope the American sports team will return. They haven't been in games for like lots of years. Like, but there's one thing I don't like about them. Well, this is gonna be different. Like, in the King of Fighters Destiny, I don't like how they treat. I don't like how SNK treats them as jokes. Like, SNK treated Rio as a joke. Like, there's this one scene. Of course, there's this one funny scene of Rio trying to use his motorcycle, but all of a sudden it breaks down, and now he has to use a tricycle. And I was like, what is SNK doing to Art of Fighting? Let's see this.
With SNK unofficially confirming the release of KOF 15 next year, I thought it was the perfect time to make a list about the characters we want to see make a comeback in the upcoming installment. Although KOF 14 had a huge roster with its 58 characters, including DLCs, many beloved figures were not included, which actually tells how much.
Hold up. So we have seen Vanessa and Ramon return, but we haven't heard some news about Seth, although he had a part in the QF 13 story.
Much of this series is loaded with super charismatic.
Damn, are these characters gonna return? Sean Fei, Hinako, and Mei Li. This is gonna be quite difficult if they are gonna return. I think the Kyo clones are not gonna return. I don't think they are. But I would love to see Kusanagi. But I think Kyo 1 and Kyo 2 are not gonna make it though. Kazumi Toda, yeah, I think she will be playable. Foxy. I really hope Nameless will return. Yeah. They should return, but I really hope Nameless will return, even though 2002 UM is a non-canonical game. Who else? These two are obviously gonna return, including Kim. Jun Hoon. Last time we saw this guy was in 2002 UM. And I think he will return. Len. This guy will return, probably. Obviously, these three are gonna return.
Characters. Considering the ending of KOF 14, some of the entries have a huge chance to be present in the next game, while
Yeah.
others are included for their popularity among the fans.
Yeah, K49's not gonna return.
Before we start, there are two rules for this list to keep in mind. First, as mentioned in the title, the character must not be present in 14, and
Yeah.
secondly, he or she must be featured at least once in a previous KOF game. So characters who have only been in other SNK games don't count. Otherwise, this list would include dozens of entries. So, without further ado, here's the top 10 characters
Yeah.
we want to see them back in KOF 15. One of the most criticized aspects of the Tales of Ash saga is the controversial artistic design
Yeah.
that was chosen for many of its fighters. To put it mildly, many fans did not like the effeminate look of some of its new characters. However, our first entry of this list is not one of them, even though he was introduced in 2003. Shenwu is your stereotypical
Yeah.
manly dude that lives to fight and enjoys facing strong opponents. That was his only
This guy needs to return. Also Ash Crimson, and there's Hans.
reason to enter the KOF. And you know what? That's totally fine. Not everybody needs to be an heir of a secret clan or an advanced human weapon. The
Yeah.
simplicity of Chen Wu's motivations is what makes him likable in my opinion. With the superhuman strength in his fists, Shen is a pure brawler who fights with his own devastating boxing style. And because of his street fighting prowess, he was feared by all in
His throw in 2003 and 11, his throw is pretty much similar to Chrysalis, so he just holds them and then just puts them down, like slamming them.
the Dark
Well, in
Alleys
12
of
and
Shanghai.
13, it's just
Despite his
headbutts.
violent attitude, Shen treasures loyalty and friendship and does not hold grudges should he win.
Oswald was in 14, although he was in 11. He returns back in 14, and I think he will return, I'm not too sure. Yeah, I think he probably will.
Wins a fight. I would say his personality is a mix between Yamazaki's and Ralph's, inheriting the thrill for combat from the former and the explosive fists and behavior from the latter. And for that, Shenwu is more than worthy of a spot in KOF 15. Introduced in 1999 as Kim's childhood friend and rival, Jun Hoon is a taekwondo master who was absent from KOF games since 2003. What's interesting about Jun is that he almost has two personas. He is calm and focused during combat, but a total immature J-pop fanboy during his free time. He idolizes Athena and considers himself her biggest fan. He would do anything to have an autograph from her. The main reason why I added him to this list is because of his unique fighting style. I don't think that there is another character that plays similar to Jun. Unlike Kim, he never uses his fists and relies only on his kicks. He's famous for having 3 different fighting stances, which make him a versatile fighter that can surprise his adversary with many different ways. Admittedly, Jun's fighting style is kind of tricky to master, but in the hands of a skilled player, he is a total nightmare. Just look at this.
Yeah, this
Opera GX. This is
This
the
dude
first
just
browser
can do,
designed
like-
specifically for us gamers. When browsing your favorite web
so basically this dude can just do multiple kicks in the air and then just super. Also, I really hope to see him return.
When K-Dash was introduced to KOF as the main protagonist of the Nest saga, he needed to have a rival. But before Kula could fill this spot, there was another fighter who had every reason to hate the Dark Hero. Chrysalid was designed to be the ultimate Kyo clone and superior to K-Dash in every shape and form. He was a high-ranked Asian
It's pretty obvious that Chrysalid is gonna return because in one of the Wincotsu bursts, he says to K-Dash that I am the original.
of Nests, thanks to his unconditional loyalty and amazing fighting abilities. However, his bright career ended the day K-Dash defeated him. Not only his clone's project was terminated, he learned that his own life was a lie when he discovered that he was just a clone of K-Dash. Thanks to Versus win quote against K, we know that Chrysalid was among the souls contained in the demon's body, meaning that there is a high probability that he may return in the next game now that Verse is destroyed. If he does return, and unless he is greatly nerfed, Chrysalid would be perfect as a mid or a sub-boss. K-Dash and Whip should be prepared to face his wrath. He would certainly try to have his vengeance against them, one for ruining his project and the other for killing him twice. This entry is a weird one, since we're talking about a character that was never really playable before. For the 7th position, I wanted to include a member of the Flying Brigands clan, and I long hesitated between Lin and Dulong, but then I decided to choose a much more interesting
Yeah, we haven't seen Ron as a playable character, but I really hope that what kind of moveset he has.
assassin. Ron was the leader of the Flying Brigands who went rogue and joined Nests. It was believed that the Syndicate manipulated him to achieve their goals, but in reality, it was the other way around. What's interesting about Ron is that he has his own side story, which remains to
Athena's design in 2001 is just like, what the hell is this? Like, I don't simply think it was that bad, but it's pretty strange to see her in short hair.
to be resolved. It revolves around the dragon spirits that Kinsu and Bao possess, a power so formidable that Ness' entire capabilities was nothing compared to it, according to Ron himself. He seeks to obtain the said power for his own objective, which is being able to manipulate the dead. Ron was only featured as a striker for Original Zero, and thus we don't know much about his fighting style, but we know that he is capable of teleporting by turning his body into dust and recomposing it somewhere else. He also seems capable of removing the soul of his opponent for a short period of time. Plus, he looks like a total badass, and has poison as blood type.
What the hell?
I'll be honest with you, the chances that this character would make a return in KOF 15 are very low. Even though K49 is super popular among the fans, the fact is, SNK hates him. He was introduced to the set.
Oh, I'm sorry. I think, well, yeah, let's get the characters that I think will return. I think Bao will return. This guy was missing for like some time. He stopped appearing in 2003, 2002, 11, 12, 13, and 14.
Series in 2001. His design is a complete ripoff of Akira's main villain, Tetsuo. Both characters even share the same voice actor. Despite all this, I do like him, especially his fighting stance. He looks like a human bomb that is about to blow up with the slightest provocation. K49 is very violent and short-tempered. He passionately hates K-Dash, which makes him another great rival. The last time he was seen, he was running away from Ness with Angel, while his partner came back in 14. K49 whereabouts are still unknown. One of his interesting abilities, beside his polymorphic arm that can turn into a drill or a fleshy tentacle, K49 has some shape-shifting powers, meaning SNK can totally redesign his look, and it would still make sense for his character. So all hopes to see K49 in the future are not lost after all.
I mean, of course.
The Grandmaster of the Kyokugen-ryu Karate and the Patriarch of the Sakazaki family.
Damn, it's too difficult to tell if Takuma is gonna return, because this guy obviously he often retires, and I mean, he did retire fighting in 14, but he was last seen in 13, which is pretty good. But at first, when I saw him in 13, I did not like the way how he looked, because he was like kind of like fat, not too fat, but he looked fat, more likely because of aging, but in the old games he looks pretty skinny.
Takuma was one of the biggest absents in KOF 14. As the father of Ryo and Yuri, in addition of being their instructor, he shares many moves and techniques with his pupils. However, Takuma is the only character to completely master their martial discipline, and therefore only him can execute its most difficult moves. Since 94, Takuma was a top-tier character in every entry he was in, regardless what form he used, because yes, Takuma has more than one form. Last time we saw him, it was in 13, where he was again a strong fighter. Keep in mind that this guy is 50 years old. What would be even more awesome is to include his other persona, Mr. Karate.
Yeah. Also, Ryohaku Todo, this guy is unplayable, and I mean, there's basically the running gag that SNK doesn't let him be playable. They just do that for running gags. I don't know why.
Not only his attitude changes and becomes more serious and determined, Mr. Karate's techniques are far deadlier too, which is saying a lot considering how much Takuma's regular attacks are already fearsome.
Yes, we need this dude.
Of course Shingo has to be included in this list. I mean, he was a staple in the series since his debut in '97 and was featured in every single installment since then, be it a canon or a dream match. He even was a mid-boss in '98. His first absence from KOF was in 13, which is understandable considering his team's ending in the previous game when he was badly wounded by Iori and sent to the hospital. But I was disappointed to not see him in 14. He was absent even in the DLC's characters, and there is no reason for that. He surely must have been fully healed from his injuries by now. Shingo is more than a simple comic foil for Kyo. He is actually strong and hits incredibly hard. His fighting style is based on mimicking Kyo's moves, minus the flames.
Imagine Shingo's design will be like different. Like, that would be kinda crazy though. And people are like, what? And then some people who are Shingo fans will be like, or who like Shingo, will be like, what the hell? Who is this? And then I think the voice actor for Shingo is gonna return, probably.
And the finesse. But still, he can do some serious harm, especially with his iconic Shingo kick and its critical damage.
Yes.
Besides, he still has a goal to achieve, which is creating his own flames like Kyo. Although it is highly unlikely that he can ever do it, Shingo remains optimistic that through hard work, someday he would become a flame user as well.
Yes.
Just like I stated in her story video, Chizuru is a very important figure of the King of Fighters lore. However, SNK seems to add her as a playable character only in episodes whose story is related to Orochi, which is kind of unfair. Kyo and Iori are relevant in every chapter. K-Dash and Kula continue to be present even after the next saga, so why Chizuru is the only one who's left behind? Plus, her story background is not the only thing important about her. Her moves and techniques are very strong and unique. Most fans enjoy playing as her and at the same time hate facing her as an opponent, for she can be a real challenge. Her mirror copies are fast, they can take anybody by surprise and can be a real pain to deal with. And spamming fireballs against her won't work, Chizuru would just send them back at them. I really wish if Chizuru could team up with Kyo and Iori and form an official Sacred Intelligence team from...
Yeah, we need Chizuru back. Because I like her character. Basically teaming up with Kusanagi and Yagami, of course. But I would love to see her in 15 to see, like, if both of them are going to team up again. Well, they kind of did in 14 during Iori's ending.
From the get-go, Shingo could fill Kyo's place in Team Japan, just like how he did before. As for Mature and Vice, they would have the perfect reason to team up with...
Rugal.
The original evil boss of KOF, Rugal is undeniably one of the most iconic villains made by SNK, and also one of the hardest to beat regardless of the installment. Not only he mastered all fighting styles, Rugal can copy any technique after seeing it just once. In fact, his Rippuken and Kaiser Wave are directly stolen from Geese and his half-brother Krauser. But Rugal can also come up with his own moves. The most famous one is surely his iconic, overpowered, super annoying
This is relatable because his genocide cutter is so cheap that you can't do anything. You can't do pretty much anything, and his genocide cutter is just annoying and broken. By the way,
If you ever felt this move was cheap, well, it's because it is.
And
After
cheap.
all, the developer stated that Rogal was supposed to be, and I quote, the cheapest bastard ever. As much as I like Adelheid, I believe that the father has much more charisma and implication with the KOF story overall. He is one of the characters that were resurrected after Versus destruction, which also makes him a likely candidate for KOF 15. It would be very interesting to see his interactions with Vice and Mature, his former secretaries, now that he knows that they were just spying on him for Genets.
Genocide! Genocide! Kata!
Versus when quote against the two women shows Regal offering them to become his secretaries again, though something tells me he was not really honest. Before unveiling the number one spot, here's some honorable mentions. If Rogal is present in the next game, then Saisho would have the perfect chance to get his revenge against the man who defeated him and made him fight his own son. Also, Vice seems to immensely hate the Kusanagi patriarch, which is strange. He's the one who should hate her for brainwashing him. Gato is another character whose storyline is not finished yet. This ruthless martial artist is in a quest for revenge against his father for killing his mother.
Yeah. I would like to see Gato. I mean, this guy looks pretty cool. I mean,
His personality is a lot like Iori's. He's rude to everyone, but at the same time, he's not a villain either.
Yeah.
Well, not entirely. We never got to know what happened to Kyo's shadow copy, the Kusanagi. Since his defeat by K-Dash's team in 2003, he totally vanished.
Yeah.
No one actually knows how Shizuru's shadow copies work or if they have a lifespan. But if the Kusanagi is still alive, I sure want to see him again in 15.
yeah, I would like to see this guy as well. And my prediction of his voice actor, if he is going to be in 15, I think his voice actor is going to be the same as Kaneda from Akira.
Not only an enraged version of Kyo looks cool, but we'll have the chance to use his movesets from KOF 95, and that's awesome.
Yeah.
Watch live and local news on a variety of networks with YouTube TV. Try it free.
Ads. Why do they exist?
I have to admit, I kind of cheated here, since we're not talking about one fighter, but a whole team. The characters we want to see the most in the King of Fighter 15s are the American sports... Nah, just kidding.
Oh my god, when I first saw this video, I was like, yes, the American sports team needs to be here, but then Shoryuken decided to troll us with the New Faces
The
team.
New Faces team, aka the Orochi team, the most likable villains of the series, with one of the best themes, two of the best teams actually. Chris, Shermie and Yashiro were present in just one canon entry, KOF 97, but they were so good that they were added in pretty much every Dream Match game since then. Unarguably, their popularity reached its top in 98. It's not sure if Verse had their suits as well, but if Mature and Vice, who are in a lower position within the Hakisho hierarchy, could come back to life, then it is totally possible that these three are already alive as well.
Yeah, of course, Shermie and Chris appear as a cameo in 13, but I'm not too sure where Yashiro is in 13. I'm not too sure where he is, but we'll have to find out. But I know that they're alive, all three of them. It's pretty good. Also, that face of Takuma. That should be an emote.
One of the reasons behind their popularity is their personalities. In their regular forms, they are a rock band with a super chill attitude, which greatly contrasts with their other personas as Heavenly Kings. But the attitude switch is not the only change that occurred to them. Unlike Iori and Leona, who only got a speed and damage boost under the influence of Orochi, Yashiro's team completely changed their fighting style. As Heavenly Kings, they activate their elemental powers. Chris becomes a Purple Flames user, Shermie manipulates lightning, and Yashiro gains control over the earth element. It's almost as if having 6 characters instead of 3, which makes this list a top 15, I guess. But who cares? I'd love to know who is the character you want to see the most in KOF 15, as I am aware that there...
Damn, about Duck King. Duck King has an amazing thing, man. He has pretty much a hilarious fighting stance. I think in Real Bout, it's pretty hilarious and kind of okay. I don't know what I'm saying.
There
But
are still many more colorful figures who I haven't mentioned.
yeah,
Also, if you want to see
Go
more
next.
KOF related top 10s, please do tell in the comment section. If you too think that the King of Fighters series or SNK games in general are underrated and deserve more respect and recognition,
well, based on where I live, King of Fighters is pretty underrated right here, and for other places it's super popular. But I think KOF in here where I live is pretty underrated, and not many people talk about it. Well, some people do, but I guess I'm the only one, not too sure.
then join our community by subscribing to the channel. I hope you enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up if you did. Thanks for watching.
Hold up.
Gathering characters from different games and using them to make teams destined to compete in a fictional fighting tournament is the very definition of the King of Fighters series. Characters could form a team because they are countrymen or come from the same game. Maybe they share similar hobbies or were trained under the same master. There is no specific criteria for how teams are made in this franchise. Knowing this, I had the idea to make a list of alternative teams that I wish they become a thing in future iterations. Only one rule to follow: these new alliances must be believable and make sense from a canonical point of view. So we won't see something like the Electric League of Benimaru, Shermie and Sylvie, or K-Dash, Clark and Choi forming a team just because they all wear sunglasses. So without further ado, here's the top 10 alternative team combinations we want to see in future KOF games. After being resurrected at the end of KOF 14, it is very likely that Ash Crimson will make his return in future installments. This flamboyant boy was a fan favorite despite being initially presented as a villain, but his popularity reached its top at the end of the Tales of Ash saga when he heroically sacrificed himself to destroy his evil ancestor, showing that he was a good guy all along. Ash wouldn't get a better teammate than his childhood friend and older sister figure Elizabeth Blantorche. She is the only person who still remembers who he is and what he did, and in spite of being erased from everyone's memory, Elizabeth refused to forget about Ash and continued to look for a way to resurrect him until she finally succeeded with the help of their third eventual partner, Kukri, the mysterious newcomer who we still don't know much about. Even though he was introduced as a rude and foul-mouthed man, it seemed that it's just a facade, especially when we saw him as a composed and calm man during his conversation with Elizabeth. It appears he was working for the young woman from the start, and it's thanks to him that they found Ash. Now, if we only could know what they are planning to do next.
But I wonder what will Kyo and Iori's reaction will be. I'm guessing they will be like furious, angry, probably surprised, probably that. And pretty much almost everyone forgot Ash, except for Elizabeth, though.
The unlucky partners of Kim Kafwan in
Kim's
this
eyes,
video
though.
won't be his master and his lover, nor convicted criminals. This time it will be his old friends from the Fatal Fury series, Honfu and Shonshu.
Yes.
The former is a Hong Kongese police detective
Ooh,
who shares a
Ravinda.
similar sense of justice to Kim, albeit not as nearly as extreme.
It's true that they wouldn't remember Ash, since all of their memories have been erased. But still, I mean, I would like to see Hanfu and Shanshu. Freaking Shanshu looks like a damn girl. What the hell, SNK? I mean, I'm not judging though. Well, I am.
Hanfu is basically a mixed version of Bruce Lee and Jackie Chan, and he's very good with a nunchaku, while most of the time. He's one of Kim's oldest friends, and I can easily see the Taekwondo master forcing him to join his team. As for Shanshu, after being freed from the evil spirit of his ancestor, he willingly asked to be trained by Kim so he can differentiate himself from his brother Shunrei, who stayed with Tang Furu. And since then, we never got to know the result of this training. Even though Shunrei won't have a place in this team, he can still make a cameo, like helping his brother during a special attack, for example. It won't be the first time SNK would do something similar. All in all, Kim would be the most pleased with this team. He finally will get to team up with people who won't infuriate him with evil behavior, nor have the courage to question his methods. Similarly to the boss's team from KOF 96, this try would be perfect as the last challenge before facing the final boss. Chrysalid, Zero, and Ignis were the main antagonists of the Nest saga. Ignis in particular is responsible of many painful nightmares and broken controllers. Original Zero, although he was not a final boss, is considered as one of the hardest sub-bosses to beat. As for Chrysalid, well, suffice to say that he was number 4 in the top 10 hardest KOF bosses, a list where Orochi was number 10. If you wonder,
I struggled with Chrysalid in 99, and pretty much I had to spam my fireballs with Iori and had to like waste the time. Clone Zero was pretty easy. I got defeated one time, but now I lost to him only one time and then I just beat him. He was too easy.
Why I left Clone Zero aside is simply because he betrayed Ness in 2000, and it's unlikely that he would team up with them again. These men, with the exception of Zero, whom we are not even sure that he died in the first place, were confirmed to be trapped within Versus' body, and it is highly possible that they were resurrected as well after its destruction. And if it's the case, you can bet that the first thing they will try to do is to get revenge against those who betrayed Nests, and they are many. The size of their vengeance list is just too long, and with the might of the 3 super warriors combined, you can be sure that some names will be crossed. Now this team should be number 1 in this list actually, but I'm putting them in the 7th position for 2 reasons. First, we already saw them teaming up with each other in previous installments. Kyo, Iori, and Shizuru are the main heroes of the Orochi saga, and they are officially called the Secret Treasures team. The second reason, they just destroyed Orochi once again at the end of 14, meaning there are little chances that they would need to ally with each other, especially these two. And this is unfortunate, since we never had the chance to see them joining forces from the get-go. As the heirs of the 3 clans who are tasked to defeat Orochi and keep him sealed forever, they complete each other perfectly. It would be super cool to see them fight side by side from the start of the tournament. It's also the perfect opportunity to develop the personalities of Kyo and Iori beyond their stupid and sterile rivalry. And who's better to help them achieve that than the big sister of the team, Shizuru? That being said, we don't know what the story of future games will be about, or what villains our heroes are going to face, and thus, hope still remains to see an official Sacred Treasures team in KOF. The 6th position is reserved to another sports-themed team, but unlike HVD and his friends, the Japan Sports team is composed entirely of martial artists. It would be interesting to see the judo champion and KOF veteran Diamond teaming up with different fighters than his usual friends Kyo and Benimaru. His new partners will include the fan favorite and Aikido practitioner Kasumi Todo, who wasn't seen since 2002 Unlimited match, the game where her popularity reached its climax. Their third teammate is the Gap of the series, Hinako Shiro, the shy high school student who, despite her size, is a talented and fearsome sumo wrestler. Fun fact, these 3 were actually a hidden team in the aforementioned game, but that was a non-canonical entry, and we want to see the Japan Sports team as an official trio in future iterations. This team is very similar to the one from 98, with the difference of Gang Il replacing Haydn. And the reason behind this is simple. These three masters know each other canonically. Takuma need no introduction. He is the inventor of the Kyokugenryu karate style and the instructor of Ryo, Robert, and Yuri. He also has a second persona titled Mr. Karate, where after wearing a demon mask, he becomes much more serious and starts using deadlier moves. Saishu is the head of the Kusanagi clan and Kyo's father. He was present in just one canonical game, 95, where Saishu was the sub-boss. With the exception of KOF 98 and some cameos in other games, he didn't show up in any other installment. The third member was introduced recently in 14 as Kim's master. Unlike his serious student, Gang Il seems the total opposite with his carefree attitude, but they both share the same love and passion for Taekwondo. Now that their pupils have all grown up and started having their own disciples, it would be very cool to see these masters forming a team and entering a KOF competition just to remind their students who the real masters are. Oh, and for those who wonder why Haider is not part of this team, fear not, I haven't forgotten about him. Thanks to the previous entry, Ryo, Kyo, and Kim would experience a hard time dealing with it, but their fathers/masters will not be their only concern, because their disciples could and should form a team on their own and enter KOF to prove their strength, with Shingo as their leader, and rightfully so, since he has the most experience in participating to KOF. He enters the competition to prove that he is more than a Kyo imitation. It also seems that he was secretly trained by Saishu at some point, and it is highly time for him to show the result of this training. Standing next to him is Kushnut Bat, also known as Marco Rodriguez, a character introduced in Garu and who's highly requested by the fans to join
Yeah, Marco Rodriguez has a strange name though.
in the roster of KOF. Kushnut is the apprentice of Ryo Sakazaki, and he is very devoted to the Kyokugenryu karate discipline. And did I mention that his training partner is a bear? The third disciple is Kim's student, the joyful Mei Lee. She managed to surprise the audience with her unique taekwondo style in KOF 2001, despite being her first tournament. She inherited her master's great sense of justice and successfully integrated it in her fighting style as her alternative stance, called the hero mode. Those three would make perfect friends as long as they don't fight over whose master is the best. I mentioned Hydern before, and I was wondering what team would be suited for him other than the Ikari Warriors or the Masters team. I thought about this for a while, and then the answer came to me when I remembered his fighting style. Hydern uses self-taught assassination techniques. Would it be awesome if he teams up with other assassins, more specifically Oswald and Lin? The former is a retired professional hitman who uses a deadly deck of cards as a weapon. Age doesn't seem to be affecting his skills in the slightest, but the most important part about this is that for unrevealed reasons, he knows Hydern very well. The latter is another veteran assassin whose story is yet to be concluded. Lin is in a quest to find his former master turned traitor, Ron. In addition of his incredible speed, he uses his claws to fight, much like Iori. Poison is Lin's best friend. It's literally his blood type. It wouldn't be the first time where Hydern hire outsiders to help the Ikari Warriors in their mission, and I can easily see him leading this new team himself so he can keep his dangerous teammates under control.
Yeah.
A common theme in video games in general is the one depicting sons fighting and struggling against their evil fathers. KOF is no exception, with its huge roster containing many characters from the same families and clans. Some of them have complicated bonds with their relatives, and such is the case with this trio, who share the unfortunate fate of being the good sons of terrible fathers. Rock, the son of the infamous Geese Howard, was raised by his father's sworn enemy Terry Bogard. He fights with techniques he learned from both his real and adoptive parents, and although his personality leans more toward the hungry wolves, he fears that the cursed blood that he inherited from his real father would turn him someday into a villain. Adelheid is the heir of the Bernstein name with his sister Rose. He never had a close relationship with his father, but he did inherit his hobby of challenging strong opponents. However, unlike Rugal, Adelheid knows how to accept defeat with a smile. He's also a reasonable young man who knows when to put aside the differences with his enemies and work together with them. Much like Lin, Dulon is on a hunt for his treacherous father. He has no intention in forgiving his betrayal and seems to live for the sole purpose of seeing Ron dead. Despite being raised to be a cold-blooded assassin, Dulon has a good heart with a strict sense of justice. Although these three young men are the polar opposite of their fathers, character-wise, they use similar techniques to theirs during combat. The apple never falls far from the tree after all.
They're sad, man. Oh shoot.
It's unfortunate that we don't often get to see teams composed exclusively of villains, because let's be honest, most charismatic characters in SNK games are not good guys. That's probably why the Bosses team from 96 and the Orochi team from 97 are so memorable. So I wanted to add another team of antagonists, the Evil Fathers team. At its head there is Geese Howard, the Emperor of Southtown and the loving father of Rock. Well, I lied about the loving part. Geese never seemed to care at all about his family, resulting in Rock hating anything related to his father. Geese is also a very cunning man and knows how to manipulate the interests of his rivals in order to acquire their strength. Next to him is Rugal Bernstein, the ruthless crime lord who sees no value in human life and enjoys collecting statues made of his fallen enemies. He has two children, Adelheid and Rose, and his outlook towards them can be described at best as cold and distant. I would love to see his reaction after learning that his son had become quite friendly with one of his sworn enemies, Hydern. Ron takes the cake, however. He doesn't have one or two children, he has 9. Most of them want him dead though, including his eldest son Dulon for betraying the clan and joining Nests. He is a pure opportunist who would lie or betray anyone as long as it serves his goals. And seeing him joining Geese and Rugal is totally plausible if it proves to be profitable for him. Now the question is, can these fathers really hurt their offsprings if they ever stand in their way? My answer, absolutely, and with no hesitation. For if there is something that these three cruel men cherish more than their own sons, it's themselves. I'm sure there are plenty other team combinations we can make from all these awesome characters. I'd love to see what your imagination can come up with in the comment section. I hope you enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up if you did, and why not consider subscribing to the channel. Thanks for watching.
$300 for that and $2,000 for this, way too expensive. But today I'm going to show you guys how to get all this stuff for a lot cheaper. Okay, so first...
I'm not interested, but... Anyways, let's take a look at one more thing. Well, Maximilian Doom has reacted to it. Well, let's talk about the characters that will obviously be in 15, which is Iori, Terry, Andy, Joe, Art of Fighting Team, and pretty much that's pretty much everything. But seriously, the Good Sons team would be a great team. We'll take a dream roster prediction.
チーム編成に関しましてもですね、14とはガラッと変えて今回進めていますので、またね、来年になって徐々に情報を公開していくことになると思いますので、そのあたりどうなるのかなって皆さんの方で予想して楽しんでいただけたらなと思います。Select your character.
Gotta look at KOF 13. Hit the select.
KOF 15's first official trailer is coming.
No, this is not how it's gonna look like, obviously, but this is only just a roster prediction. Well, some people know it.
Next week. But before that, I want to discuss my predictions for the King of Fighters 15's Dream roster. Before we start, I'd like to give a disclaimer about...
I don't know the Maximum Impact team are gonna be in 15. I mean, they're from another... They're basically from another game, which is Maximum Impact, of course, but I don't really have high hopes of them being in there. I don't know.
My dream roster. For this video, I would give the actual roster that I think would be on the game, which I will base on the actual story, character relationships, and what happened after KOF 14 and on the KOF A New Beginning manga. So, I have to follow...
Wait. These two characters, what the hell? Okay, this is strange, but...
follow some rules for this roster. I can only have as many as 60 plus characters, including the mid-boss and excluding the main boss since we don't know the main boss. That's also not including the DLC characters which I will discuss on another video. I need to remind you guys that this is my prediction, and I know this roster might seem to be a really large roster, but I do think we would have an insanely huge roster anyway, as the story dictates. I wouldn't even be surprised if KOF features a 4 or 5 person team composition this time. Well, enough of that. Let me know your thoughts after watching the video. Let's start.
Here comes a new challenger!
It's 3 Sacred Treasures.
Sacred Treasures Team, or Team Japan. Kyo Kusanagi, Iori Yagami, and Chizuru Kagura. It's almost a guarantee that these 3 will team up for KOF 15, even though it seems they stopped the resurrection of Orochi at the end of KOF 14. The New Beginning manga showed us that Hakeshu, the people who are the disciples of Orochi, are alive. No doubt, the Sacred Treasures team have a big chance of coming together again to stop Genitz and the Hakeshu. It's also a good balance between the 3 characters, with Kyo being a rushdown zoner character, Iori Yagami being Shoto and rushdown type, and Chizuru being a mix-up character.
Here comes a new challenger!
Japan.
Hero Team or Team China. Shunei, Meiten-kun, and Benimaru Nikaido. I think Tungfuru will still play a big role.
Hold on. As I saw the concept of Benimaru's design, I think it's because my prediction was that maybe this will be green and then the flower petal will be red. That's what I thought to myself to see it look like that, but I'm not too sure. I just had that in mind for some reason.
Role in the plot of Shunei and the Secret Scrolls, although he will take a back seat for the new member of Team China, Benimaru Nikaido. Don't worry, Tungfuru's fighting style might be given to a resurrected Jeff Bogard. In KOF A New Beginning manga, it was noted that the hand that controlled Iori and the illusion that Shunei create are similar. It's possible that Benimaru would join Shunei's team to investigate that.
Here comes a new challenger!
Team Fatal Fury, Terry Bogard, Blue Mary, and Joe Higashi. Fatal Fury's timeline is most probably going to be heavily involved in KOF 15, especially because of the Secret Scrolls. In KOF 14, we know that Blue Mary joined forces with Hydern and the Ikari Warriors to investigate, so it's possible that Blue Mary joins the Fatal Fury team.
I don't know.
Comes a new
She
challenger!
is. Art of Fighting.
Team Art of Fighting, Ryo Sakazaki, Kushnud Butt, and Robert Garcia.
At the end of KOF 14, it was shown that Ryo Sakazaki wanted to leave to train alone, and it's because of Takuma being so passionate about the Kyokugen barbecue. The interesting thing about this is that one character followed Ryo, Kushnud Butt or Marco Rodriguez. So I do think Yuri and Takuma will be out of the team this time, and Kushnud and Robert will complete the team with Ryo. It's also interesting that Ryo was showing signs of transforming into an Oni when he gets mad. Maybe this is Ryo becoming the new Mr. Karate with Takuma's absence. Takuma is a Tengu, so it would be awesome if Mr. Karate, Ryo Sakazaki, would be a different character. An Oni, how awesome would that be?
Well, Mr. Karate too, by the way.
Here comes a new challenger!
Ah, here comes the badass theme of K-Dash.
Team Anti-Ness. K, Maxima, Kula, Diamond. Since they were hired by the Ikari Warriors to investigate Ness, and it was confirmed that Ness is actually back, I don't see a reason why Team Anti-Ness would be changed, but I can say this team would be heavily involved with the next team on the list.
Here comes a new challenger!
Wait.
Team Mexico or Team South America. Nelson, Angel, and Ramon. During the KOF A New Beginning manga, the remnants of Ness controlled two people, Kula Diamond, which had been stopped by K and Maxima, and Angel, which, even though was saved by the Ikari Warriors, was noted as a complete robot who can be controlled by Ness. There's also Nelson, who lost control of his abilities and seems to be one of Ness's experiments as well without his knowledge. Teaming them up with the investigator and the good-hearted Ramon could be a great catalyst to expose the whole plan of Ness for Angel and Nelson. I also wouldn't expect the King of Dinosaurs or T-Sock to return to KOF 15 since his pride has been restored in the KOF A New Beginning manga.
Here comes a new challenger!
Jeez, that theme is loud. Oh, this is Maximum Impact.
Team Maximum Impact, Alba Mira, Sora Mira, Luis Merrick. Again, this might sound far-fetched, but if you watch my theory about the Maximum Impact crossing over with KOF 15 and the connection between Shunei, the Mero brothers, Judaim, Verse, and the Secret Scrolls, I think it's a possibility.
I'll see this one later.
Here comes a new challenger!
And the Ikari Warriors. Oh.
Ikari Warriors. Leona, Ralph Jones, and Clark Steele. It's impossible not to include the Ikari Warriors and Hydern, since they're the ones who first discovered the signs of resurrections during the KOF 14 tournament. Also, they are fan favorites, and with the return of Akeshu, surely the Riot of Blood plotline with Leona and Iori will be touched once again. And did I say Gaidel?
Here comes a new challenger!
Knockout spin. Amazing.
Team Rock Howard. Rock Howard, Wataru Futaba, Jeff Bogard.
No, of course, this is just a Photoshop. No Photoshop Jeff Bogard with just Clone Zero's face. Probably Photoshop into a second character.
He's Howard being canon in KOF 14, and him mentioning the Secret Scrolls, I am confident in saying that Rock Howard will be brought in as a canon character for KOF 15 as well. And with the revival of Jeff Bogard, it would be awesome for Rock to be mentored by the rival of his father.
Here comes a new challenger!
Oh yeah.
Team Hydern. Hydern, Whip, and Adelheid Bernstein. It's no question, Rugal Bernstein is coming back. And so, it's automatic for me to expect that Hydern and Adelheid to team up for that plotline, and Whip should be included for the Ness plotline as well.
Here comes a new challenger.
Oh, mine's theme. Then Team Ninjas.
Team Shiranui.
Or
Mai Shiranui, Andy Bogard, Banderas Hattori. Andy Bogard will form a new team with Mai Shiranui. It's time for Andy to get his own shine. The thing that gave me this idea is the ending of Team South America's story. When Banderas Hattori traveled to Hokkaido but got lost and got in trouble with the police. Maybe he met with the Shiranuis?
Here comes a new challenger.
Alright, Team Kim.
Team Korea.
Or Team Korea.
Kim Kap-won, Luong, and Gang Il. Again, this is another team that I'm not expecting to change. Since the end of KOF 14, Gang Il was pretty adamant about staying and training with Kim despite Kim's best efforts to get rid of his master. Luong will also not leave Gang Il's side. Luong is pretty fun to use, so no complaints here.
Here comes a new challenger.
Let's do it. It's pretty. Whoa, what the hell?
Team Another World. Nakoruru, Mui Mui, and a new character. With Nakoruru still looking for Weikamu and knowing that her mission is still not done, she will be reappearing for KOF 15 sadly. Sadly because I'm not a fan of Samurai Shodown characters showing up in a modern fighting tournament, but that's beside the point. She is still part of the story, so it's almost assured that she will be back along with Mui Mui. However, Love Heart's license expired, and so we might see a new character replace her slot for the Another World team. I just hope it's not another Samurai Shodown or Last Blade character, except Lee Rekka. If it's Lee Rekka, then he fits with KOF.
Here comes a new challenger.
I don't know this thing. Wait, what the hell?
Team Russia or Team Antonov. Antonov, Mian, and Sarina. Although it was hinted that Sylvie Paula Paula and Mian would form a team with Antonov, I just don't see it as the case. In the KOF New Beginning manga, Sylvie Paula Paula became good friends with Athena Asamiya, and Antonov brought the land for Sarina that Sarina wanted to buy. So I'm guessing Antonov will team up with Mian and Sarina.
Here comes a new challenger.
Oh, the women's fighter sim. Alice?
New women fighters, King, Alice, and Yuri Sakazaki. With Mai going to Andy Bogard's team, the women fighters team will need a new replacement, and who better than Yuri Sakazaki, who needs to take things more seriously before she can go back to the Kyokugenryu team.
That's pretty simple.
Here comes a new challenger.
It looks like it. Psycho Soldiers. Oh yeah, Sylvie, Athena, and Kensu.
Psycho Soldiers. Athena Asamiya, Sylvie Paula Paula, and Sia Kensu. In the KOF New Beginning manga, Psycho Soldiers got involved with Ness, and this led to Athena Asamiya and Sylvie Paula Paula's friendship. I would think Chin would sit out this one and Sylvie replaces him for now, for the Psycho Soldiers team. Right now, the plotline of the Dragon Spirit with Bao and Kensu is irrelevant, but I'm expecting KOF 16 to touch on that with the return of key characters, which I will make a video about soon.
Here comes a new challenger.
Dang, dude, that remix. What the hell?
Team Australia. Mr. Big, Raiden, and a new character. Two things made me think that Mr. Big will be back. First is the end of the Team Southtown story, where James attacked Geese Howard. Well, James is the real name of Mr. Big. And second is the ending of KOF 14, where remnants of Versus Fragment fell in Australia. Mr. Big might also be involved in the plotline of the Secret Scrolls.
Here comes a new challenger!
Oh, Geese Howard. It's probably this team again. Yeah.
Team Southtown. Geese Howard, Hayne, Billy Khan. Geese Howard is definitely canon in the story now, and with the plotline of the Secret Scrolls and the revival of Jeff Bogard, he will be heavily involved in KOF 15. Also, Hayne seems to be more than what he appears, right? What is Hayne's true identity?
Here comes a new challenger!
Team Villains, or Team Xanadu. Xanadu, Chang Kohan, and Choi Bonji. Like it or not, Xanadu is going to be back. He seems to hold some important information about the black market, and he was also involved when some of the Samurai Showdown characters manifested. So it seems Xanadu is important in the story for this saga.
Here comes a new challenger!
Saucy.
Team Ness. Zero, Chrysalid, and new character. Zero and Chrysalid are confirmed to be back, and they might create a team of their own. I'm not sure who is the third member though. Maybe a Kyo clone? Maybe Ignis? Probably not Ignis, because he was killed again in the KOF manga. So maybe a new character? Or maybe...
What?
Wait, hold on, I didn't see that there.
So maybe a new character? Or maybe...
What?
Nameless, bro?
Bro, what are you talking about, man?
I mean...
Here comes a new challenger!
Hakeshu, or Team CYS. Yashiro Nanakase, Chris, and Shermie. SNK Golf Fighters confirmed Shermie to be alive. KOF A New Beginning manga confirmed CYS to be alive as well. Enough said. We fans waited for this. It's going to be awesome, and they will try to revive Orochi again.
Here comes a new challenger!
Rugal, man. What up?
Genitz, Rugal Bernstein, and Gaidel. I don't expect them to be a team. I expect them to be solos and to be the mid-bosses of KOF 15. We have one water user in the roster, and that's Shunei. But we don't have a specialized water user, and that's Gaidel. And it's now time for him and Leona to meet. So, you might be wondering, why is there no Ash Crimson or Team Friends? No Vice and Mature? Well, simply said, I don't think Ash, Elizabeth Blantorch, or Kukri will be back for KOF 15 because they are not...
Stop right there. Obviously, these guys are gonna return, but... Sorry about that. But this was made like already, but let's just check the comments. I'm gonna check the comments about I'm only gonna check the comments to see if Ash. Never mind. That's fine though.
part of the story yet. I think KOF 15 revolves around the revival of Hakeshu and the reemergence of Ness, the secret scrolls, and the mystery of Shune's ability. That's a crap load of plot lines, so I don't think those from the past will be heavily involved into this game. I do think those from the past will come back in KOF 16, and that's where we will see Ash Crimson reintroduced. But for now, let the guy sleep. As for Vice and Mature, they didn't stop Iori from sealing Orochi again. So it seems like they want to distance themselves from the Hakeshu, or they just want to see how it plays out. Same with Ryuji Yamasaki. He never really cared about being a Hakeshu, so I doubt Yamasaki will come back for KOF 15. I also want...
Well, I could say this guy is wrong, because obviously Ash, Elizabeth, and Kokiri are gonna be back in 15, because Ash is alive again, Elizabeth returns, and obviously Kokiri's a new character, so he will be back.
I wanted to add Nod, but I have no idea who she will team up with. But she will definitely be back because SNK's deal with Saudi Arabia. I mean, who knows? Maybe we get a new character and we get Team Saudi Arabia in Nod. And that...
Street Fighter EX character, and then some random dude that looks like Rashid from Street Fighter. Although we don't know that much about her, she will be back, but her design kind of reminds me of a female Chrysalid. Well, not really, but she will be back in 15 because we don't know who she is or the story, or yeah.
That's my prediction for the KOF Dream roster, but the next video would be my wish list for KOF 15's roster. That includes the DLC, guest characters, teams, and returning characters. That is just my personal preference. So like this video and subscribe, and let me know what you guys think on the comments below. This is Beck, and this is Random Boredom Productions, bouncing off.
I must see this. Alba and Sorry Maria?
With the imminent release of the heavily anticipated King of Fighters 15's official trailer, there was one instance in the teaser trailer's reveal that sparked my interest. No, it's not the design, it's not the dream roster. Yeah, they are awesome. But it's the logo. Especially the comment from Yasuyuki Oda and the design of the logo that made me think about something. And I know this might be wrong, or for some people, a very far-fetched idea, but hear me out. Is there something else hidden in that KOF 15 logo than what is obvious? If you watch my review for the teaser trailer, I mentioned that the KOF 15 logo got a theme of red and blue flames to symbolize the abilities of the confirmed main protagonist of the Verse Saga, Shunei. And most of the time, KOF uses its logo to reflect the characters or main aspects of that installment's story. For example, KOF 14's logo is given a gold theme, clearly a reference to Antonov, but it also was a reference to Verse, the hidden main antagonist of KOF 14. So what I'm saying is that maybe the red and blue theme of the KOF 15 logo is not only a reference to Shunei, but also a reference to other things that will be on the game. And what's more interesting is that I think it's all connected to Verse as well. After all, we don't even know where and how Verse exactly came into the King of Fighters universe. So here's my theory. The King of Fighters 15 will be the game to merge the current King of Fighters timeline with another KOF universe. Maximum Impact. Specifically, Alba and Suara Mera.
Boy, if you don't...
Okay, now you're scratching your head, but hear me out for a second. Tinfoil hat, this sounds crazy and impossible, okay? So I need to back up my claims. First of all, look at the KOF 15 logo. Red could be a reference to Alba Mira, and blue could be a reference to Sora Mira. Second, what do we know about Verse? All that we know about Verse is that he is an entity that was released when Ash Crimson erased himself from the space-time, meaning that Verse disrupted the timeline of the series. which admittedly is a convenient plot device. But this also resulted in several time anomalies. First is that verse reversed the death of most, if not all, dead characters in the universe. Second is that it allowed characters from different dimensions, timeline, or world to cross over, like Nakoruru, Loveheart, and Mui Mui in KOF 14, as well as Haomaru and Genjuro, as shown in the KOF manga. Third, it also foreshadowed the plotline of the Secret Scrolls, which directly brings the Fatal Fury timeline in the same universe. Now, in order to merge Maximum Impact universe with the main King of Fighters universe, it needs three things. First, it needs the revival or return of Sora Mira. Second, the timeline of Maximum Impact needs to line up with the current timeline. And third, to formally make the story of Southtown, Bogart family, and Howard family in the series, which are integral parts of the Maximum Impact universe, versus time anomaly or plot convenience fulfills all three conditions. I mean, is it really that far-fetched? SNK managed to tie in the lore of the Ikari Warriors and Psycho Soldiers seamlessly into the King of Fighters universe. Not only that, they might have even tied the universe of the Ikari Warriors to the Metal Slugs universe. So what's stopping them from tying the lore of Maximum Impact, a plotline that is already inside KOF, with characters that reside inside Southtown? Also, this could be a foreshadowing or not, but King of Fighters finally brought in Rock Howard after countless fan requests. Yes, he's a DLC character for now, but it's interesting how KOF brought in Rock Howard in the roster, who is one of the main players in the Maximum Impact series. Not only that, but aside from Rock Howard, KOF 14 brought in a lot of Southtown main players connected to the Secret Scrolls. Tung-Fu Rue, Geese Howard, Ryuji Yamasaki, Blue Mary. Again, some are DLC, but you get the point. KOF 15 might also give us the revival of Jeff Bogart. Geese Howard even hinted that verse was foretold in the Secret Scrolls. And with all these revivals, who's to say we won't see Jin Chonrei and Jin Chonshu? So most definitely, Southtown and Fatal Fury might play a big role in the Verse saga. Now, going back to Verse, we know that he existed because of Ash disrupting the time and space balance, but we don't know where he came from. We also know that there is another side or entity that is connected to Verse that is the hydrokinesis fragment of Shunei's ability. What if this other side of Verse is the entity that was foreshadowed in KOF Maximum Impact's universe? The entity called Judaim. Judaim is believed to be the true form of Alba and Sora Mira. He is an alien entity who is pursued and searched by the organization Hades and Luis Merink. Hades also, quote, possess mysterious and advanced technology and can change the course of the world within a mere instant, unquote. Take it how you will, but the mention of technology and changing the course of the world seems connected to something about space and time and seems to be connected to Ness and those from the past. To not bore you with details, I think Judaim, Verse, and the Secret Scrolls are all connected. And on the other hand, Hakeshu is alive, as well as Ness and those from the past who are all about Orochi. So yes, Kyo, Terry, Ryo, K-Dash, Ash, and Shunei are in for an all-out war. But who knows? Maybe I'm wrong, but it's a possibility. I really think that Alba and Sora Mira and the Maximum Impact universe will cross over with the main King of Fighters timeline, this coming King of Fighters 15. Not to mention that Alba Mira literally means daybreak of light, and Sora Mira translates to evening light, which plays into the theme of dualism of the Verse saga with Shunei. Even the dualism of Rock Howard. Also, the true form of Alba and Sora is also called Judaim or Yudaim, which are references from the Bible, and verse, which probably is a shortened term for universe or multiverse, but we also call the passages from the Bible verses. So who knows? Maybe that's why Eisuke Ogura told us to fire up those dream rosters, and Yasuyuki Oda name dropped Maximum Impact all of a sudden. We would know next year. What do you think? Hit like and let me know your thoughts down below. I get other contents lined up for KOF, but I also tackle different topics like other video games, anime, manga, movies, wrestling, and other nerdy stuff. So don't be a stranger and subscribe, okay? This is Beck, and this is Random Boredom Productions. Dosing off.
I mean, seeing Maximum Impact characters in freaking King of Fighters 15, it would definitely feel a little off. Well, not really off, but seeing seeing characters from like other series in the main game will be a little strange than I thought, but I figured out, you know what, I've been streaming for like 1 hour, damn. But, yeah. I unfortunately had to end the live stream. I mean, after watching these videos, I mean, you know what, let's take one more look at the designs of pretty much everything will be here. Of course, K-Dash and Leona will return, and people are making this rumor of freaking Raiden. Like, it's some stupid leak that something means that person hasn't even released an artwork like that just yet. King of Fighters 15 Storm will be like, seriously? Yeah, seriously? Bruh. Okay, why? Why? This is a possibility tier list. This is not how it will look like. I mean, mainstays, obviously, these guys are gonna return. Including her. I can see the point it's gonna happen. Really good chance. Rock Howard tier and Nameless tier. Sort of a chance, slim to none, and I don't even know what the hell that. I'm gonna go see this. Alright. Here for 9 Maximum Impact characters, Orochi, Psyche tier. I don't think these guys will return. I mean, this guy, Psyche, was erased from existence. I mean, this is Dulong's sister. K49 will not return. Sim to none. Saishu. I mean, I would like to see Saishu return, including the American sports team. Tongfu. Probably these guys will return in girls here. These guys are obviously going to be here. Shune, Athena, Benimaru, Clark, Kula, Iori, K-Dash, Kensu, Terry, Kim, King, Kill, Leona, Mai. Mai is obviously going to be here because I don't want to offend any Mai fans here, but she's pretty much overrated. Don't attack me for this, because, yeah. I mean, isn't Daimon gonna return, obviously? Because he was pretty much every single KOF game except for 99 and 2000. Well, 2000 he was like a striker, but he was not playable. Also, he disappeared in 11 as well. So he was absent from like 2 games, well, 3 to be exact. But yeah. These 3 will obviously return, including Ash Crimson. I mean, we got some cool designs. I like Kiyosuno's design. Even Benimaru. I think KDF will remain the same, but I really hope you enjoyed this live stream. Make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on the notifications so you could know that when I upload. And I'll see